Welcome to JGTCR, I'm Cope, and today we are tuning the BMW Z4 with the engine swap. Let's get into it. In factory trim, with just the engine swap, this BMW Z4 is actually quite impressive. We could almost be fooled into thinking this is a factory performance vehicle. The handling is awesome. It is extremely responsive to our inputs and moves accordingly. There is little to no resistance when turning in, no understeer or uneasiness as we enter corners. The power is optimal for this format and layout. There is enough power to giddy on up on the straights and out of corners, but not so much that it cooks the tires. The power delivery is extremely smooth. This affords us some hard driving with little in the way of repercussions. When slides do occur, they are, in a word, sublime. They are easy to control and go in or out of without any drama whatsoever. This is great for drift racing for a bit of fun, and it is seamless when transitioning back to normal racing. The brakes are also on point, making this a great all-round conversion vehicle and probably the best factory engine-swapped vehicle we have driven to date. Let's collect our time. 7 minutes 54.2 seconds. And now the race tune. The fatal flaw in this vehicle design is the wide body. The flaring of the wheel arches gives us the illusion of a wide body. Unfortunately, it still makes contact with the wheels if we have both the offset and the wide wheels. It's this channel's policy to tune what we brought to the track, so we have raised the vehicle substantially to avoid contact issues. This has impacted our ability to tune effectively and is reflected in our settings. It should also be noted that the anti-lag is set to strong on this tune. Personally, I am not a fan of anti-lag as it negatively impacts our ability to engine/compression brake. However, it is what was needed for this tune. Let's see it in action on the Nürburgring. The BMW Z4 with the engine swap completely modified would just not behave itself when we first started tune testing. The tail end was far too slide happy, and to an extent it still kind of is. Once we started to add ballast and move it around, we found this Z4 finally started to balance itself out. As previously mentioned, I am not a fan of anti-lag as it interferes with compression braking, but it was needed as deceleration, even with nerfed settings on the diff, caused the tail end to kick out. Using the anti-lag set to strong gave us some respite from this unwanted behavior. The handling is rock solid and moves much like we would expect from a funky tune such as this. We had to raise this Z4 up the wazoo as the pathetic wide body flares were constantly fouling the wheels. A retune with slightly narrower wheels and lowered to a reasonable level is certainly in order. But as we go on this channel, we tune what we brought to the track on the day. The power is a bit too much for this chassis to handle, and it struggles to get it to the ground effectively. Power delivery is a constant battle for traction, and when it breaks loose, it is not kind in any way, shape or form. We need a great deal of throttle modulation and patience to maintain control. The brakes work well enough for the package. There are no major issues while braking. Let's collect our time. 6 minutes 11.3 seconds. On to the drift tune. Our drift tune for the engine swapped Z4 is a return to form. Of particular note is the anti-lag, which has been reduced to weak from strong. This ensures our throttle response remains crisp while also returning some of our compression braking ability. Let's drift Suzuka. Once again, the love-hate relationship continues with this Z4. On this much more level track, we can reduce the height to a reasonable level, bringing this BMW back to life. This is an incredible drift car. It is one of the most user-friendly drift experiences, no matter the style of drift we choose to use. The handling is amazing. There is nothing we can throw at it that it can't handle. The steering remains solid, agile, and responsive. This is as close to perfect as drift handling has been on GT7 so far. The power is stellar. There is plenty on hand, and delivery of that power is extraordinary. It is buttery smooth, attentive, and in no way aggressive. We can easily balance the vehicle with the throttle, be it modulation or bouncing off the limiter. The BMW Z4 with the engine swap is a brilliant drift car. So what are you waiting for? Buy this car, dial in the tune, and drift away. And that's all we have for you today, so until next time, keep racing!